The following matchup is being played with HistoryMaker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, we are kicking off an impromptu rivalry week as it's East versus West, as we are going to kick off this impromptu rivalry week with an MVP-Caliber showdown as Mike Trout and the 2012 Angels take on Miguel Cabrera and the 2012 Detroit Tigers on this latest edition of Rivalry Night. Who will come on top of this MVP caliber battle? Well, I guess you're gonna have to tune in to find out for yourself, because game one is coming up just around the corner. But first, let's take a look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of Rivalry Night as part of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take this time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. First and foremost, thank you to Bitty Beer for sponsoring every mid-game and end-of-game summary throughout every episode of the HistoryMaker Baseball Express Hour. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Bitty Beer. They say it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Bitty Beer its distinctive taste, but we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our bats have never been cleaned, so there's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. And every game that we go to extra innings, it is a Doc Cola extra innings ball game. Doc Cola uses the finest imitation ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. With twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major brand, Doc Cola is sure to keep you wired from dawn till dusk. So take the Doc Cola challenge and see why our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom. At Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza starts with the crust. Then we layer on a homemade pizza sauce, and then load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, it's piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. And then we give that majestic culinary work of art to Mickey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who's as responsible as a tree stump. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection when it left the store. And by Suncoast Capital. At Suncoast, we live by one simple rule of investing. When your clients win, we win. And when our clients lose, we win, sort of. Suncoast Capital. You know we're gonna get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you can get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at least 25% coast to coast between the hours 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. with unlimited text and messaging between those hours, of course. So why pay for a service you cannot live without? Yeah, we're just about set and ready to go for game one of this episode for Rivalry Night. And as you guys can see, it is and as you guys can tell by today's festivities for this week and Um, for today, we are doing East versus West this week. A little impromptu rivalry week, as you might would say so, if you want to call it that. Today's featured rivalry is going to be featuring the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim against the Detroit Tigers. Now, this technically is not considered a rivalry, but if you if you really want to call it an unluckiest rivals, you can, but it's up to you if you want to call it that way. But we're gonna get straight and down to it and see between. Oh, and by the way, this is worthy of this is a battle between the top two MVP voting from the top two players from the MVP voting from 2012. Miguel Cabrera won the MVP over Mike Trout in 2012 because Miguel Cabrera won the Triple Crown in 2012. With that being said, we're ready to play ball. Your starting pitching matchups for game one is going to be none other than Justin Verlander for the Tigers, as he has semi-ace, flash, and control against Jared Weaver, who has star, flash, and control. So ace versus ace to begin the festivities here for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. As we're getting set and ready to go, Mike Trout steps into the batter's box and he's ready to hit. JV is ready to go, and so are we. Let's play ball from Comerica Park here in Detroit, Michigan. We'll begin game one of this battle of the MVP, of the top two MVPs between Miguel Cabrera and Mike Trout with a 2-3-6. Let's see. Struggler or Gilded on JV? No. Sad sack on Trout? No. That's going to be an RBI question mark check. And look at that, folks. Mike Trout is going to deliver his promise as he delivers the first runs of the ball game for the Halos. As after a half inning of play, it's Angels 1, and the Tigers are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. 1-4-4. Struggler on Weaver. No. Sad sack on Austin Jackson. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black guy if control. Jared Weaver has control, so that 4 will be reduced to a 3. The Tigers are not going to pull their trump card yet. They'll place the runner safely at first and second for Quentin Berry off the men on base chart. We got a 16. Good eye? No, Quentin Berry does not have a good eye. So therefore, it will be a strikeout to end the first inning of play here at Comerica Park with the Halos in front of the Tigers, 1-0. 1-1-5. Struggler on JV? No. Utility on Torrey Hunter? No. That is going to be a men on base result, -1 for the black guy if flash. Excuse me. Justin Verlander has flash, so that 1 will be reduced to a big fat goose egg. It'll be a no runs result of a 5 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first 1.5 innings of this ball game here for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. With your score, the 2012 Halos 1 and the 2012 Tigers 0. 4-6-6. 4-6-6. 4. Here we are. Workman on Jared Weaver. No. Hero on Miguel Cabrera. Oh, he's not, though. However, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Miguel Cabrera has semi-home run king. The black guy is not a 6, even though Miguel Cabrera has slugger, but he does have semi-home run king. And folks, Miguel Cabrera put a charge into this one. High, deep, watch it fly. On. Miguel Cabrera hits a solo shot to tie the game up at 1 off of a piece of cheese that was caught near the sweet zone of Miguel Cabrera from Jared Weaver, and Miggy made Weaver pay. We are all knotted up at 1 after 2 innings of play between the 2012 Angels and the 2012 Tigers. 3-5-5. Star on JV, no. Champ on Albert Pujols, he's not a champ. So therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 5 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings of this one. We're still deadlocked at 1 apiece between the 2012 Angels and the 2012 Tigers here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 225. Ace on Weaver, no. Hero on Prince Fielder. He is a hero batter. So therefore, it's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Prince Fielder is a stoic runner. So therefore, they're going to place from 2 to a 1. They'll place Fielder on at first base for Delman Young. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 35. Control pitcher. Yes, we do. Jared Weaver has control. So therefore, it will be a ground out to end the first 3 innings here at Comerica Park. The Tigers kind of, would you say, kind of threatened, but didn't score? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But it is what it is. With that being said, after 3 innings of play, the 2012 Angels and the 2012 Tigers are all dead even at 1 here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 134. Ace. Yes, ace pitcher on Verlander. He's a semi-ace. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that'll be a no runs result of a 4 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the first 3.5 innings of this one. We're still dead even at 1 between the 2012 Halos and the 2012 Tigers. 245. Struggler on Weaver, no. Sad sack on Bosch, he's not a sad sack. So therefore, men on base result, -1 for the black die if flash or control. Jared Weaver has both flash and control. So that 4 will be reduced to a 2, putting Bosch on at second base for Johnny Peralta. We have a 13 as he takes his hacks off the men on base chart. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. And again, I play freshness for those of you tuning in for the first time to this episode or any of the episodes for the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. I do play freshness as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Everyone is on a neutral playing field. So with that being said, we're in the semi-freshest innings, and Jared and I go by decider die as he's still fresh, blank, he's not. So with that being said, Jared Weaver is still fresh. So therefore, he will get the pop out to end the bottom half of the 4th and the first 4 innings here at Comerica Park. Again, the Tigers threaten but do not score. We're still knotted up at 1 apiece between the 2012 Angels and the 2012 Tigers. 446. Workman on Verlander. No. 446. Excuse me. Star pitcher on JV. No. Hero on Trumbo. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he is. So therefore, it's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Trumbo is a semi-stoic runner. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that 6 will be reduced to a 5, giving the Tigers a huge break. But there are men in scoring position for the Halos trying to break this 1-1 tie as Alberto Callaspo will be up at the dish off the men on base chart. 24. Goldfielder makes the out. Alex Avila is the catcher for the Tigers here in Game 1. Unfortunately, he does not have gold. So therefore, that is going to allow the Angels to break the tie, putting runners at the corners for credit and error to Avila. And that'll bring up Howie Kendrick off the men on base chart. 26. Home run king, it's home run. Howie Kendrick is not a home run king. So therefore, it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 4. Champer hero on Kendrick. He's a semi-hero. Oh, wow. And the decider die says he is. So therefore, The Angels are going to tack on another run. It's now all of a sudden 3-1 Halos here in the top half of, as we end the top half of the fifth with your score. Now, Halos 3, 2012 Tigers 1. 135. Ace on Weaver, no. Champ on Omar Infante, he's not. That'll be a no runs result of a 3-dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 5 innings here at Comerica Park with your score Angels 3, Tigers 1. 335. Struggler on Verlander, he's not. Champ on Eric Ibar, he's not. That is going to be another no runs result of a 3-dot, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first 5.5 innings here at Comerica Park for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2012 Angels and the 2012 Tigers. Your score after 5.5 innings of play is Angels 3, Tigers 1. 335. Oh my goodness. Struggler on Weaver. No. Champ on Austin Jackson. No. That'll be another no runs result of a 3-dot, and that will end the first 6 innings here at Comerica Park with your score remaining 2012 Angels 3 and the 2012 Tigers 1. 122. Struggler on Verlander. So far, so good, but he's not struggling. Champ on Ionetta. He's not a champion. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result of a 2-dot, and that'll take us to the stretch here at Comerica Park with your score Angels 3, Tigers 1. 225. Ace on Weaver. No. Hero on Quentin Berry. He's a semi-hero. The Decider Die says yes, he is. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result. Yes, men on base result with a base running adjustment. Oh, look at that. Quentin Berry is a semi-active runner, and the Decider Die was used to check if Berry was a hero or not. And it seems Berry is active. So therefore, that 2 will be increased to a 3. They're going to place the runners on at first and second for Miguel Cabrera. Oh, not a good move if you are the Angels to face off against Miguel Cabrera with runners in scoring position. We go to the men on base chart with a 13. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. Well, again, we're way, and I mean way past the freshness innings. So therefore, it will be a double scoring 2 runs. Miguel Cabrera does it again as he ties up the ball game at 3 for Prince Fielder. And the Angels are going to. Oh boy, I think they're probably going to stick with Weaver here to hopefully get out of the inning. Let's see if that was a good move or not. We continue on the men on base chart for Prince Fielder's at bat. Oh, bad move, Chief. 12. Slugger hits home run. Well, that is going to be, I'm sorry. Prince Fielder is not a slugger. So therefore, it will be a single. The Tigers are going to grab the lead from out of nowhere. And that is going to do it for the first 7 innings. And that'll be the end of the day for Jared Weaver here at Comerica Park. Your score after 7 innings of play is the 2012 Tigers 4 and the 2012 Angels 3. Timeout. And it seems the Tigers are going to the bullpen as they are going to bring in Joaquin Benoit to pitch for the Tigers as he has flash of control for his appearance here for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. For this at-bat against Mike Trout, Benoit will have the full extent use of the control quality. With that being said, we resume play here in the top half of the 8th with your score 2012 Tigers 4 and the 2012 Angels 3. 145. Acer Dynamic on Benoit. He's not. Sad sack on Trout. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of Flash. Benoit has Flash. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4. Runners are at the corners for Torrey Hunter. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 34. Slugger hits double. Torrey Hunter is a semi-slugger. Oh, and the decider die says he's not. So therefore, that's going to be a single, scoring a run to tie up the game. And that is going to do it. 30. Yes, that's going to do it for the top half of the 8th. Your score is all dead even at 4 between the Halos and the Tigers for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. You do see the bullpen door out in deep left center field, swing wide open here at Comerica Park as the new Angels pitcher is trotting in for the bullpen. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. The Halos decide to go to LaTroy Hawkins for as their bullpen hero pitcher for this game, as he has semi-star, semi-flash, and semi-control. For this at-bat against Delman Young, LaTroy Hawkins will have the full extend use of the semi-ace quality. With that being said, the Angels are trying to keep this at a 4-4 game, but not if the Tigers have anything to say about it, because Delman Young is stepping up to the plate off the men on base chart, off the main chart, 245. Struggler on LaTroy. He's not. Sack on Young. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of Flash of Control. LaTroy Hawkins has semi-flash and semi-control. We'll take this decider die roll because it was not used for Flash. So if that 4 will be reduced to a 3. Does LaTroy Hawkins have control? He most certainly does. So therefore, that 4 will be reduced to a 3, from 3 to a 2, putting Young on at second base for Brennan Bosch to hit now, this time off the men on base chart. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. And again, LaTroy Hawkins is the bullpen hero pitcher for the Angels, so he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Therefore, he will get the ground out. The Tigers threaten but do not score. We're all deadlocked at 4 as we head to the 9th inning here at Comerica Park in Detroit for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. And we're on our way to the 9th, as it seems we have, triple one. So this is going to be an experience check. So let's take a peek-see here. 1 blank for no runs narrative results. Make sure to remember that. We have a 4. Prospect pitcher, Joaquin Benoit is not a prospect. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank. And that is going to seal up the deal. We go to the bottom of the 9th here at Comerica Park. We're all dead even at 4 between the Tigers and the Angels. 335. Struggler on LaTroy. He's not. Champ on Peralta. No. We are going to go to extra innings, folks, here for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. All deadlocked at 4. Who will blank first? As we have a no runs result of a 3. Let me just make sure here about the decider die. Struggler, no. Champ, no. Yes. Decider die was not used. We'll keep this decider die roll for Flash. What'll be a no runs result of a 3 blank for Flash and a dot for Control. And that is going to send us to extras, all knotted up at 4 between the 2012 Tigers and the 2012 Los Angeles Angels. Uh, 245. Benoit is the struggler. Excuse me, is he strong? Excuse me, is he a struggler or not? No. Sad sack on Morales. No, that's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. A flash of control. Benoit has flash, so that 4 will be reduced to a 3. And it seems Benoit does not have control. Go big or go home, says the Angels. They're going to place Morales on at third for Mark Trumbo. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 13. Fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out. Well, Benoit is the bullpen arm, so therefore he is fresh for the remainder of the contest. So therefore, it will be a pop out to send this to the bottom of the 10th here at Comerica Park for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night as the Angels leave a man on third. They threaten but do not score. Head to the bottom of the 10th, all knotted up at 4 between the Halos and the Tigers. 1-3-3. Ace on Latroy. He's not. Remember, he was ace way back when he was entering into the game, but he's now not an ace now for this at bat against Avila. Sad sack on Avila. He's not. That's going to be an RBI question mark result. And folks, the game is over. Oh my word. Alex Avila will bring home an RBI, and that is going to do it. The final score here for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Your final score gives the Tigers the 1-0 advantage here in this Rivalry Night series between the battle of the top two in the 2012 MVP voting between Mike Trout and Miguel Cabrera, with a 5-4 victory for the Tigers. Stay tuned for the Biddy Bear game summary for game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. We will be back in just a few short minutes for game 2 at the Big A in Anaheim, California. And a very nice little good afternoon from the Big A here in Anaheim, California for game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the 2012 Halos and the 2012 Tigers. Your game 2 probable starters are as follows. Irvin Santana will be on the mound for the Angels as he has Workman, Semi-Flash, and Semi-Control, and he will go toe-to-toe with Anibal Sanchez as he has Flash and Double Control. A couple lineup changes for both teams. For the Tigers, Andy Dirks will be in the game and will be in for game 2 as he will patrol in left field. Quentin Berry will be in right. And for the Angels, Meister Isturis will be replacing Alberto Callaspo as he will be the third baseman. With that being said, let's get game 2 underway with the Tigers in front of the Angels in this series, 1-0. Can the Tigers try to win the series? Let's find out right now. Not if the Halos have anything to say about it. Let's play ball from the Big A in Anaheim. We'll begin game 2 from the Big A here in Anaheim with a 1-1-6. Struggler on Santana. No. Utility on Omar Infante. He is not. Therefore, that'll be an RBI question mark result. And folks, the Tigers, just like the Angels did in game 1, the Tigers this time are going to jump up to the early lead after a half inning of play here at the Big A. 4-5-6 on Isturis because of course he is leading. He's the leadoff batter for the Halos for game 2 here. We have a 4-5-6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, freshness. Again, I play it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Since we're still in the freshness innings, Anibal Sanchez is still fresh. Champ on Isturis. He's not a champ. Therefore, it's going to be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Meister Isturis does not have a home run king or slugger, so therefore that is going to be a no runs result of a 4 dot. Now we'll seal up the deal for the first inning of play here at the Big A with your score. The Tigers 1 and the Angels nothing. 115. 115. Struggler on Santana. No. Utility on Austin Jackson. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of Flash. Irvin Santana has semi-flash, and the decider die says he does not. So therefore, that's going to place Austin Jackson on at first base for Quentin Berry, the right fielder for this game. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 46. Same reliever gets a strikeout. And again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus lefty matchup, Irvin Santana will not get the strikeout. So therefore, it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We have a 2. Sad sack on Barry. We do not have a sad sack, so the Tigers are going to add on another run. It's all of a sudden 2-0 Tigers now after an inning and a oh, excuse me. This is for the top of the second. Sorry about that. The roll, I forgot to flip to the next half. I just realized that. Oh my goodness. So again, the roll was for the top half of the second. So now, after an inning and a half, officially an inning and a half, the Tigers lead the Angels 2-0. Howie Kendrick will lead things off for the Halos with a 2-2-4. Ace on Sanchez. No. Utility on Kendrick. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result with a -1 for the black die if control. Anibal Sanchez has double control. So therefore, that 2 will be reduced to a big fat goose egg. And therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 blank. And that is going to end the first 2 innings here at the Big A with your score after 2 innings. Tigers 2, Angels nothing. 136. Ace on Santana. He's not. 136. Here we go. Hero on Miguel Cabrera. Man, oh man, he's not. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Miguel Cabrera has semi-home run king, even though the white number, in this case, the black die, I should say the black die, in this case, the white number, is not a 6. Miguel Cabrera has semi-home run king. And of course, the decider die says yes. So Miguel Cabrera puts another charge into this one. High and deep out to the rocks and gone. Miguel Cabrera hits his second home run, giving him a 2-game home run streak here in this series, in this Rivalry Night series with the Halos. And the Tigers now lead the Halos 3-0. Man, oh man, is this kind of a mismatch, you would say? Maybe, maybe not. But who knows if the Halos are going to try to come back here in this one as we head to the bottom of the third by the score of 2012 Tigers 3 and the 2012 Halos nothing. Three, 5, 6. 3, 5, 6. Here we are. Workman on Sanchez. Get out of here. No way. Champ on Ibar. He's not a champ. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Eric Ibar does not have slugger or home run king qualities credited to his name. So therefore, that's going to do it for the first 3 innings here at the Big A with your score, Tigers 3, Angels nothing. 3, 4, 6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, we're in the semi-freshest innings as at this point. So therefore, Irvin Santana, according to the decider die, is not fresh. Again, I go by his dot. He's fresh. Blank. He's not. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Prince Fielder is a stoic runner. So from 4 to a 3, they'll place the runners on at first and second for Delman Young. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart of a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Again, Irvin Santana is not fresh. So therefore, that is going to do it, as it will be a single. Score runners will advance 2 bases. So therefore, the Tigers will add on another run as the runner on second scores. The runner on first goes to third, and that is probably going to do it. As the Angels manager says, I'm not going to let him pitch any further. We're going to get the bullpens going, and that is going to do it for the top half of the fourth. The Tigers so far have scored in every inning to this point so far through the first 4 innings of this ball game. Your score after 3.5 innings is Tigers 4, Angels nothing. $114. Struggler on Sanchez. He's not. Champ on Iannetta. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot, and that is going to end the first 4 innings here at the Big A with your score. Tigers 4, Angels nothing. We do see a new bullpen arm trotting in from left field here at the Big A. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems the Angels manager has gone to Scott Downs for this bullpen hero appearance, as he has star, semi-flash, and semi-control. For this at bat against Andy Dirks, Scott Downs will have the full extent use of the semi-ace quality. With that being said, the Angels are trying to keep the score right here at a Tigers lead of 4-0 as we resume play here in the top half of the 5th inning. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, Scott Downs just came in, so he is considered fresh. Sad sack on Dirks. He's not. That's going to be a 2-4. Here we are. Men on base result -1 for the black die if control. Scott Downs has semi-control. The decider die says he does not. So therefore, that is going to place the runners on at first and second. They're not going to pull a go big or go home yet. When it's probably a tie game or something like that, the Tigers will probably do go big or go home. But for right now, they're not going to pull it out. So therefore, we go to the men on base chart for Johnny Peralta we have a 25. Iron fielder commits the error. Get out of here. Mike Trout is not an iron fielder. That is going to be a ground out to end the top half of the 5th with your score remaining 4-0 in favor of the 2012 Detroit Tigers. 3-4-4. Workman on Sanchez. He's not. Sad sack on Torrey Hunter. No. That'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Sanchez has double control. So from 4 to a 2, that'll place Torrey Hunter on at second base for Albert Pujols. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 36. Active batter gets runners advance 2 bases single plus a stolen base. Well, unfortunately, I'm playing it by the running quality. So therefore, Pujols is a neutral runner. So therefore, it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We have a 3. Sad sack or utility? Get out of here. When is Albert Pujols ever a sad sack, or is he a utility? So therefore, the shutout is gone. The Angels get on the board thanks to an RBI from Albert Pujols. After 5 innings of play, the Tigers lead it by 3 runs as they lead it over the Halos 4-1. 2-2-3. Ace on downs. He's not. Utility on Peralta. He's a semi-utility. The decider die says he is not. 2-2-3. 2-2-3 ace. Utility batter. Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that the decider die was not used, and it wasn't. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 dot for flash and a blank for control. That is going to do it for the top half of the sixth. The Tigers still maintain their 4-1 lead over the 2012 Los Angeles Angels. 2-3-3. Ace on Sanchez. So far, he's pitching like one, but unfortunately, he doesn't have it printed out on his card. And 2, 3. Here we are. Champ on Morales. He's not a champ. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 2 dot. That's it for the first 6 innings here for game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score Tigers 4, Angels 1. 2-3-6. Struggler or Gilded on downs? No. Sad sack on Avila? He's not. That's going to be a no. Men on base result. 2-3. Oh, I'm sorry. Struggler or Gilded on downs? No. Sad sack on Avila? No. Sorry. That's going to be an RBI question mark result. And unfortunately, the Tigers are not going to be able to get another run across. It remains 4-1 as we head to the stretch, as it will be a no runs result of a 6 dot for flash and a blank for control. That is going to do it as we head to the stretch here at the Big A, as these fine folks here sing a good rendition of God Bless America, along with Take Me Out to the Ball Game. The Tigers are going to go to their pen to hopefully preserve this 4-1 lead over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim here for game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. We do see the bullpen door swing wide open out in the corner in deep left field. We'll see who the new pitcher is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that Octavio Dotel, the late great Octavio Dotel, rest in peace, will be coming into the game here as he has semi-star, flash, and double control for his appearance out of the bullpen. For this at bat against Mark Trumbo, Dotel will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, the Angels are trying to cut the Tigers' lead to hopefully maybe down to a half, or maybe try to at least tie here in the bottom half of the 7th as we resume play with the Tigers in front 4-1 over the 2012 Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 115, Struggler on Dotel. No. Utility on Trumbo. Get out of here. No way. Therefore, it'll be a men on base result, -1 for the black die of flash. Remember, we gave Dotel the double flash quality, and it really did not matter because that one will be reduced to a big fat goose egg. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank. Dotel did his job to keep the Tigers in front of the Angels after 7 innings of play of the score of 4-1. 4-6-6. 4-6-6. Here we are. Workman on downs. He's not. Hero on Infante. He's not. That'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Omar Infante does not have home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore, that's going to do it for the first 7.5 innings here at the Big A with your score for Tigers 4, Angels 1, as we have a no runs result of a 6 blank for flash and a dot for control. We head to the bottom of the 8th with the score Tigers 4, Angels 1, and let's see what comes up for the Halos' turn in their half of the 8th. With a 1-1-2. Ace pitcher on Dotel. No. Sadsack on his tourist. He's not. That'll be a RBI question mark result. And of course, the decider die says, yes, there will be an RBI. The lead is cut in half as the Angels cut the mulberry tree down to size. As the Tigers' lead is cut in half, it's now Tigers 4, Angels 2 after 8 innings of play. 4-5-6. 4-5-6. Here we are. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Downs is the bullpen hero arm, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. 4-5-6. Here we are. Champ on Jackson. He's not. That'll be a no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Austin Jackson is a semi-slugger. However, the black die, in this case, the white number, is not a 6. Therefore, that is going to do it, as it'll be a no runs result of a 6 blank. Let me just make sure. Yes, bullpen hero arm. Champ, no. Yes, decider die was not used, so this will be used for the flash quality for Downs of a no runs result of a 6 blank for flash. And a dot for control. Last call for the Halos as we head to the bottom of the ninth here at the Big A with the Tigers leading it 4-2. One, 2, 6. Struggler or gilded on Dotel? No. 1, 2, 6. Hero batter on Kendrick. He's a semi-hero. Oh, and the decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Kendrick is a neutral runner, so therefore they'll place the runner on at second base. The tying run is coming to the plate with Eric Ibar off the men on base chart. 56. Patient draws the walk. Unfortunately, Eric Ibar is not a patient batter, so therefore it'll be a contact result. We got a 4. Champer hero. Eric Ibar is a semi-hero, and the decider die says yes, he is. They'll bring home 1, but it won't be enough to win game 2 for this episode of Rivalry Night over the 2012 Tigers, as that will be your final score. The Tigers hang on by their bated breaths as they defeat the Los Angeles Angels here in the Devil's Lair, as they call it here, as we would call it Angel Stadium. And if you're a Tiger fan, the Devil's Lair. Who knows? But the 2012 Tigers will win this series over the Angels, setting up the sweep back at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. And we'll have game 3 for you after we take a look at the Biddy Bear game summary for game 2, presented by your favorite Biddy Bear products. And again, every game summary throughout this inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour is presented by your favorite Biddy Bear products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Biddy Beer, please, and I mean please, remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Biddy Beer. Once again, the final score for Game 2, the 2012 Tigers take this Rivalry Night series, and they are looking for the sweep back at Comerica Park as they defeat the Angels by the final score of 4-3. The Tigers may have won this Rivalry Night series, but can they go for the sweep of the Halos? We're about to find out right now, as your Game 3 probable starters are for the Tigers, Max Scherzer, as he has semi-star, full flash, and semi-control, and he will be going up against Zach Greinke, as he has semi-star, Full Flash, and Full Control. We are from Comerica Park here in Detroit, Michigan, to decide if the Angels are going to find a way to salvage a game or will they be swept by the 2012 Tigers. It's time to find out. So let's play ball from Comerica Park for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. We'll begin Game 3 with a 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, if I play it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. So Max Scherzer is fresh. Sad sack on Iannetta. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die of control. Max Scherzer has semi-control. The decider die says he does not. So therefore, that is going to be putting the runner on its second base for Mike Trout. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 12. Oh, wow. Slugger hits home run. Well, oh, man. The Tigers can calm down for just a bit as Mike Trout does not have Slugger. So therefore, it's going to be a single. So this time, it's a back and forth scoring fest here in the first inning between the Angels and the Tigers to see who would score first. The Angels scored in Game 1. The Tigers scored first in Game 2. Now, who scores here in Game 3? The Angels. So it seems every game so far, the visitors have scored first here in this Rivalry Night series. Man, oh man! After a half inning of play, thanks to a Mike Trout RBI single, the Angels are in front of the Tigers, 1-0. 5-5-6. Star on Greinke. He's a semi-star. The decider die says he's not, though. Hero on Barry. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says he is. So therefore, that is going to end up being a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Quentin Barry is a semi-active runner. Is he active? Oh, he's not. So therefore, that 5 is going to stay put when a runner's on at second and third for the big man, Miguel Cabrera, who is on a 2-game home run streak here. Did he try to extend it? Let's find out off the men on base chart. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. When we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup, unfortunately, Zach Greinke is going to get the strikeout on Miguel Cabrera, and that is going to do it for the first inning of play. The Tigers threaten but do not score. Angels jump out in front here in Game 3, hoping to salvage this game of the 3-game set between themselves and the 2012 Tigers as they lead it after 1 inning of play, 1-0. 3-4-4. Workman on Scherzer. He's not. Sad sack on Hunter. No. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Max Scherzer has semi-control, and the decider die says yes, he does. Workman, no. 3-4-4. Workman, no. Sensei, no. Yes, decider die was not used. So Scherzer has semi-control, and the decider die says yes, he does. So therefore, that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting a runner in at second base for Albert Pujols. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 22. Batting at home, no, the Angels are the visitors for Game 3, so therefore it will be a flyout to end the top half of the second here at Comerica Park for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night, with the Angels in front of the Tigers, 1-0. 2-4-6. Star on Greinke. He's a semi-star. However, the decider die says he is not. Champ on Prince Fielder. Unfortunately, he's not. 2-4-6. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I read that right. Champ, Fielder is not a champ. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run Prince Fielder as semi-home run king. Can he pick things up where Miguel Cabrera left off? Oh, he won't. Man, he just missed it. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 6 blank. And that will seal up the deal for the first 2 innings here at Comerica Park for game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night with your score Angels 1, Tigers nothing. 236. Struggler or gilded on Scherzer? He's neither. Sad sack on Kendrys Morales. No, that's going to be an RBI question mark result. And unfortunately, the Angels are going to grab on another run and, pat onto their lead as it'll be a 2-0 advantage for the Halos here in game 3. Yes, in game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night as the Angels jump in front of the Tigers 2-0 as we head to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. 115, Struggler on Greinke. So far, no. Utility on Young. No. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the Black Die if flash. Zach Greinke has flash from 5 to a 4. It's runners at the corners for Andy Dirks. He'll take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 25. Here we are. Iron fielder commits the error. Mark Trumbo is not an iron fielder, so therefore that is going to be a ground out, preserving the lead for the Halos and putting another bit of despair into the Tiger faithful here at Comerica Park as the Angels lead it 2-0 after the first 3 innings of Game 3 for this episode of Rivalry Night. 345. Star on Max Scherzer. He's a semi-star. The Decider Dice says he is not. Sad sack on Izturis. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result. -1 for the Black Die if flash or control. Max Scherzer does have flash, so that 5 will be reduced to a 4. He has semi-control. The Decider Dice says he does. So therefore, that 5 will be reduced to a 3. They're going to play it safe for right now, putting runners on at first and second for Howie Kendrick. Oh my, 15. Scrapper. Yeah, Scrapper hits double. Oh, Howie Kendrick is a semi-scrapper, but it doesn't matter. The Decider Dice says no. Max Scherzer snuck in a piece of cheese into the sweet zone of Howie Kendrick as he sends this one a country mile high out and deep to right field. It is high. It is far. It is gone. The Angels lead the Tigers in a huge way by the score of 5-0 after 4 innings. After 3.5 innings of play. 1-2-2. 1-2-2. Struggler on Greinke. He's not. 1-2-2. Here we are. Champ on Peralta. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result of a 2 blank, and that'll seal up the deal for the first 4 innings here in this ball game. Your score after 4 innings, thanks to a 3-run home run by Howie Kendrick, the Angels are in front of the Tigers 5-0. And it seems the Tigers manager is going to his bullpen. We'll find out who the new pitcher is after we take this really quick timeout. Welcome back to Comerica Park here in Detroit, Michigan for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night, as we do see Dwayne Below now on the hill for the Tigers as he has semi-flash and double control. For this at-bat against Eric Ibar, Dwayne Below will have the full extent use of the semi-ace quality. With that being said, we resume play here in the top half of the 5th with the Angels leading it over the Tigers 5-0. And sorry about that, folks. I pressed the wrong button on my scorebug display here. So with that being said, let's resume play with the Angels in front 5-0 with a 4-5-6. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Bilo was entered into the game from the bullpen, so therefore he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Champ on Ibar. He's not a champ. Yes, Kendrick batted. So therefore, it will be a 4-5-6. No runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Eric Ibar does not have slugger or home run king qualities credited to his name, so therefore the Angels will get the Tigers will get a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 4.5 innings here at Comerica Park with your score: Angels 5, Tigers nothing. 2-4-5. 2-4-5. Here we are. Struggler on Greinke. So far, no. Satsack on Avila. No. That's going to be a man on base result. -1 for the black die of flash of control. Zach Greinke has both flash and control. It's a start. They're going to place the runners on at first and second for Omar Infante off the men on base chart. 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Zach, since we're in the semi-freshest innings, and I go by with the decider die as dot he's fresh, blank he's not. Zach Greinke is not fresh. Therefore, it will be a single, allowing the Tigers to get on the board because runners advance 2 bases. Runner on second scores. Runner on first goes to third. Runners at the corners as the Angels manager is trusting Zach Greinke to get out of the inning here. As he will face off against Austin Jackson off the men on base chart as the Tigers do get on the board. It's now Angels 5, Tigers 1. 56. Patient draws the walk. Austin Jackson is not a patient batter, so therefore it will be a contact result. And the red die comes back out once more. It's a 1. Okay, so first things first, we're going to look for a flash versus a whiffer pitcher. Or a whiffer batter versus a flash pitcher. And it seems we have a semi-whiffer for Jackson. We have a whiffer batter in Jackson against Zach Greinke for a flash pitcher. So we're going to re-roll the decider die. Bullet, it's a dot. It'll be a strikeout. Blank, the Tigers are going to add on another run. And it seems the Tigers are going to add on another run thanks to an RBI from Austin Jackson. It's now all of a sudden Angels 5, Tigers 2. The Tigers are looking to make some noise with their starter now out of the game as the bullpen is trying to keep them in Game 3 to hopefully sweep the Halos out of the Motor City. With that being said, after 5 innings of play, the Angels still hang on by 3 runs, 5-2, over the 2012 Detroit Tigers. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Bilo is the bullpen hero arm for the Tigers here in Game 3. So therefore, he is fresh for the remainder of the contest. Do we have a Satsack batter on Chris Iannetta? It seems we do not. So therefore, that is going to end up being 2, 3, 4. Here we are. Men on base result -1 for the black die. If control. Dwayne Bilo has double control. So therefore, from 3 to a 1, that'll place Iannetta on at first base for Mike Trout. He will take his hacks off the men on base chart with a 24. Goldfielder makes the out. Quentin Berry is a semi-iron fielder, so therefore it will be advancing the runners 90 feet for Mike Trout as he gets on base via an E9 on Quentin Berry. And my goodness, folks, you don't want to make any 2 mistakes here when trying to get the sweep here, or if you're the Angels, trying to at least salvage a game. This game has everything. So with that being said, we continue on the men on base chart with A 13, fresh relief pitcher gets the pop out, while Dwayne Below is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Plus, he's the relief arm. So, therefore, he will get the pop out, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first of 5.5 innings here at Comerica Park with your score Angels 5, Tigers 2, as we do see the bullpen gate swing wide open in deep left center field, as we do see a new bullpen arm trotting in for the bullpen for the Los Angeles Angels. We'll see who that is after we take this really quick timeout. We're back here at Comerica Park for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Here in the as we resume play here in the bottom half of the 6th inning with the score Angels 5, Tigers 2. We do see a new bullpen arm on the mound for the Halos as Ernesto Frieri will be on the hill for the Halos as he has semi-ace and double flash for this at bat against the big fella Miguel Cabrera. Ernesto Frieri will have the full extent use of the ace quality. With that being said, we resume play here in the bottom half of the 6th inning here at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan, with your score Angels 5, Tigers 2. 236. 236. Here we are. Struggler or gilded on Frieri? No. Sad sack on Miggy. Get out of here. Miguel Cabrera was the Triple Crown winner in 2012. So is he a sad sack when he? How can you be a Triple Crown hitter when you're a sad sack batter? It's impossible. So with that being said, it will be an RBI question mark check, and folks, Miguel Cabrera will get an RBI as the Tigers creep a little bit closer. It's all of a sudden Angels 5, Tigers 3 as we end the first 7 innings here at Comerica Park with the score Angels 5, Tigers 3 as they will be coming down to the battle of the pens. Which pen will blank first? We head to the 7th inning here at Comerica Park with your score Angels 5, Tigers 3. 246. 246. Here we are. Star on Belo. He's not. Champ on Pujols. No. That's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is a 6. Albert Pujols has slugger. There she goes, folks. It is not coming back. Albert Pujols puts a charge into that changeup, and he sends it a country mile high, deep and out to left field, and into the Tigers' pen it goes. Angels grab the 3-run lead right back, and as it's now Angels 6, Tigers 3, as we head to the stretch here at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. 4-5-6 as we resume play. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Frieri is the bullpen arm, so he is considered fresh for the remainder of the contest. Do we have a champion batter on fielder? We do not. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Prince Fielder has semi home run king, and I believe the decider die was not used. Yes, it wasn't because Frieri was the bullpen hero arm for the Angels, so he is still fresh for the remainder of the contest. We don't have a champion batter on fielder, so therefore, Prince Fielder is going to put a charge into this one, high and deep out to the shrubberies, and man, oh man, I think that went past the shrubberies and gone. My goodness. Prince Fielder put a charge into that one as it is now 6-4 Angels. Man, oh man, after 7 innings of play, man, is this a really hard-fought game, back and forth. The Angels are trying to salvage a game while the Tigers are looking for the sweep. We head to the 8th inning here at Comerica Park with the score 2012 Angels 6 and the 2012 Tigers 4. 2-2-5. 225. Here we are. Ace pitcher on Belo. He's not. Hero on Morales. He's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result. That's a start of a 2 dot. And that is going to end the top half of the eighth. We go to the bottom half of the eighth with the score Angels 6, Tigers 4. The Tigers are looking to make some noise here with a 1-1-3. Struggler on Frieri. He's not. Utility on Young. No. That'll be an RBI question mark check. And unfortunately, the decider die says no. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first 8 innings here at the ballpark with your score Angels 6, Tigers 4. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, Belo is the bullpen hero arm, so he is considered fresh for the remainder of the game. 2-3-4. Here we are. Statsack on Mark Trumbo. No, that's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If control, Dwayne Belo has double control, so therefore that 3 will be reduced to a 1, putting Mark Trumbo on at first base. For Meiser is Turris. He'll take his swings off the men on base chart with a 12. Slugger hits home run. Oh, Meister is not a slugger, so therefore that's going to be a single. The Angels threaten but do not score. Man, oh man, we go to the bottom of the ninth. 2 to tie, 3 to earn the sweep of this 3-game set. Andy Dirks will lead things off as we head to the bottom of the ninth with your score Angels 6, Tigers 4. 1-4-6. Ace or dynamic on Frieri. He's a semi-ace, but the decider die says no. Okay, sad sack batter on Dirks. He's not. This is a start. Men on base, -1 for the black die of control. Ernesto Frieri does not have control. The bases are loaded, full of Tigers for Johnny Peralta. Oh boy. We go to the men on base chart with a 44. Wild pitcher? No, Frieri's not wild. That is going to do it. Oh, man. So close, but yet so far. The Tigers threaten, but do not score. The Angels hang on to salvage game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. The final score for this episode of Rivalry Night for game 3 of this episode is Angels 6, Tigers 4. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Rivalry Night that we featured a MVP-Caliber like showdown as Mike Trout and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim took on Miguel Cabrera and the 2012 Detroit Tigers. Well, let's see, since we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Folks, boy, oh boy, the big red machine is looking to defend their World Series crown against the swinging A's of the Oakland Athletics as we are going to rewind the clock back to the 1990 World Series as we are going to feature the Reds and the A's on the latest edition of World Series Rewind. Who will come on top of this matchup? I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out for yourself next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross-Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.